Now, if you have a problem of sweating a lot, this is something you need to listen to. One of the key functions of the skin is regulation of the body temperature, and usually you meet people who sweat when in a hot environment, when working out, and sometimes when undergoing stress.
But just what is considered excessive sweat? Juliet Njoroge now tells us more about hyperhidrosis, a term that refers to excessive sweating.
Imagine a situation where your palms are dripping wet to a point of avoiding physical contact with other people, say through the shaking of hands. Hyperhidrosis refers to excessive sweating that causes distress.
Hyperhidrosis is a condition where you have excessive sweating, which is beyond and excessive to what the body needs for cooling. So you'll notice that a lot of patients have generally a lot of sweating, but those who have excessive sweating is now when you come to hyperhidrosis.
There are two types of hyperhidrosis: primary, also known as focal, and secondary, also known as generalized. As Dr. Hashim explains, for primary hyperhidrosis, the sweat occurs in specific areas, usually at the palms of the hands, soles of the feet, underarms, and the face.
Hyperhidrosis, there are two different types, and what we call primary focal hyperhidrosis, or the essential type or the primary type, which is basically the genetic type. And then you have the secondary or the acquired type, which is a form that comes more towards adults compared to primary focal, which it's mostly seen in children.
For secondary hyperhidrosis, sweat occurs on the whole body and it happens even during sleep. There is an underlying medical condition to this type of hyperhidrosis.
So as soon as you kind of treat the cause of hyperhidrosis, for example, tuberculosis, the sweating would actually go down, right? When it comes now to the primary focal hyperhidrosis, you see, the entire cause is a genetic factor, which is causing an excessive increase in the sweat gland stimulation, which is causing an excessive sweat production.
For Edith Kimani, she was born with primary hyperhidrosis, which she says affects her social life and career choice.
Being young, you really don't know, but now at some point you stop doing some things, like playing without shoes. That was a no-go zone to me. Going to people's houses without shoes or socks was a no-go zone for me. So as a kid, you really don't know how to take it, but I wanted to be a doctor personally. But now, when you do gloves, technically by the time you're 10 minutes into practicing or doing whatever you're doing, you're wet. The gloves are wet. When you touch someone, imagine I'm coming to you as a doctor and I need to see part of your body. Then when I touch you, when you sweat, you freeze, like your hands are freezing cold.
Hyperhidrosis Awareness Kenya is an initiative started by Martin Kimamo to help create awareness about hyperhidrosis. Martin, from a family of 4, is the only one who was born with primary hyperhidrosis, and due to the lack of knowledge about excessive sweating, people around him made fun of his condition.
It was up until 2007 when I came across the TV show. Don't know whether you can remember the Tyra Banks show. It caught my attention because I sat down and I was like, okay, so this condition has a name, it's hyperhidrosis. And from there is when I started doing the research. And the more I went deep into the research, I could only see unfamiliar faces. I didn't see people who look like me.
For excessive sweating, Martin recommends those affected to seek medical attention from dermatologists who conduct a background check. Other causes that may trigger the sweat include anxiety, drug abuse, alcohol consumption, and spicy foods. The dampness resulting from the excessive sweating also has a negative impact on the skin and may lead to fungal skin infections such as athlete's foot.
One very common complication that we do see is fungal infections, because you see the skin is damp, so there is more availability for the fungal infection to spread. So one of them is like tinea corporis. Tinea angam is where you have an infection of the nails. Those are kind of the complications initially we see.
Topical treatments are offered as a solution for primary hyperhidrosis, including use of antiperspirants for the specific area affected by the sweating.
When you talk of a cure, it's very difficult to cure such a condition. Rather, you manage it, or you start telling the patient of how to live with the condition with help from medications.
For secondary hyperhidrosis, the underlying condition is treated first. Research shows that nearly 5% of the world's population suffer from hyperhidrosis, a condition that easily has a negative impact on all aspects of life, from low self-esteem to social isolation and embarrassment. Reporting for KBC Channel 1, I am Juliet Njoroge.